Communication in a relationship may be one of the most important things in predicting relationship success. All relationships at some point will experience difficulty or issues, and it's how we navigate and confront those issues that really matter. And if you're sitting there thinking, no, not me, my relationship is perfect, then all I have to say is, oh really? Is it all that perfect? Do you know where your partner is right now? What they're up to? Who they're with? What they're thinking? Research has identified that couples who experience distress tend to adopt unhealthy communication styles and have poor ways of resolving conflict. There are generally two types of communication style. One is termed a pattern of escalating negativity. This might start with one partner expressing something negative, maybe with a little frustration or irritation. The other person then responds with their own irritation, and before you know it, things are escalating. And so what started out as a minor disagreement turns into a full-blown shouting match, and then finally the silent treatment. And now you're sitting across from your partner at the dinner table while they scowl at you, and you're wondering if they've secretly poisoned your dinner. Another common pattern in struggling couples is the demand-withdraw cycle. This pattern is where one partner pushes for change, perhaps through emotional demands, criticism or complaints, while the other pulls away, becoming defensive, shutting down, or perhaps even avoiding the conversation altogether. For instance, the demander might express frustration, hoping their partner will listen and make a change, but instead the withdrawer shuts down, ends the conversation, or even walks away. These types of actions in communication illustrate aspects of unhealthy communication styles, known as the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and these have been shown to predict divorce with up to 83% accuracy. The first one is criticism. This goes beyond complaining about a specific issue. It's about attacking your partner's character or identity. For instance, complaining that they never clean the dishes is one thing, but calling them selfish for not doing so is a criticism. The next one is called defensiveness. This might be a typical response when one experiences criticism, reflecting that escalating cycle. When we feel attacked, we try to justify ourselves. Of course, trying to justify ourselves often conveys a sense that ultimately we don't take our partner's concerns seriously. The next one is known as contempt. This is when our communication style towards our partner is peppered with disrespect. We might speak sarcastically, ridicule, or even roll our eyes at them. When we treat our partners with contempt, you essentially convey a sense of superiority, making your partner feel unimportant and undervalued. The final one is known as stonewalling. This happens when one person withdraws from the conversation. This might be through ignoring, giving the silent treatment, or simply just checking out mentally. Stonewalling leaves the other person feeling dismissed and unheard. That is not to say that a healthy relationship is one without conflict. As we mentioned earlier, conflict is pretty much inevitable in any relationship. In fact, avoiding conflict, like in the demand-withdraw pattern, can just be as unhealthy as constantly arguing. Interestingly, research suggests that while conflict and expressions of anger might lead to short-term frustration, it can actually improve the relationship over time. Studies have shown that the ability to express anger in a relationship can increase greater long-term relationship satisfaction. This might be because when we're able to communicate our displeasure at certain things to our partner, it can be an important step to resolving that issue and having a stronger understanding of each other's needs or boundaries. Of course, this only holds true if anger is communicated in a healthy way, because those 4 horsemen, criticism, defensiveness, contempt, and stonewalling, are predictive of relationship breakdown. So while we might think that anger in a relationship is something to avoid, maybe it's actually something we should consider embracing, at least when it's done in the right way. Anger itself isn't necessarily harmful. In fact, expressing frustration can be an important and healthy part of communication. The key is how we express that anger. When anger comes out as a personal criticism or a contempt for another, it can be damaging. But when it's communicated constructively, without attacking or belittling our partner, it can actually help address issues and strengthen the relationship. Of course, another important thing to keep in mind is knowing when to pick your battles. In many unhappy relationships, a big focus is on trying to change a partner's behavior. And while change is sometimes necessary, it's also worth asking, does this really matter in the grand scheme of things? Not every issue needs changing, and of course some conflicts cannot be resolved. Sometimes the healthiest thing we can do is to let go of the need to change our partner and to learn to accept them as they are. Some studies have shown that couples therapy that focuses on fostering emotional acceptance can be highly effective in increasing relationship satisfaction. It can of course be natural and understandable to focus on what our partner needs to change, but sometimes the real question is whether we could be more tolerant of their behaviour. So it's important to reflect on your own attitudes and behaviour and consider whether you are being tolerant enough of your own partner being their own individual with their own needs and ways of being. Learning to let go of certain struggles and accept our partner's imperfections is an important step to a harmonious relationship and reducing conflict. And therefore, in many respects, acceptance is a form of change, just not the one you were originally thinking of. What are your suggestions to the key to successful communication in relationships? What strategies do you think about or employ to try doing to foster strong communication between you and your partner? Comment down below, and if you appreciated the video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel.